All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's a few minutes past 10. This will be recorded. If you guys miss anything, or if you don't want to take notes, you have that there. But I'm really excited to have you guys here and to be talking about Google tools and ways to help make everything that you do more productive and hopefully quicker and easier. As you guys know, it's one of my favorite topics to talk about. So I'm happy to be able to share some of the apps that I use on a daily basis and really enjoy with you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. Most of you guys know me, but a quick little introduction. My name is Jay Parrish. I'm the digital marketing manager for Coldwell Banker Elite. I'm a dad of two amazing girls, husband of another awesome business owner here, and just blessed to be surrounded by three amazing girls. Right now, as you can see in the picture here, we enjoy, taking long walks. The girls are bike riding. We're trying to do the best that we can to stay busy and get out and get some fresh air. I love photography, and Google Photos is one of the apps that we'll talk about today and how I use that. I also love, taking photos of things around the area and using that on Instagram and actually getting that out to my sphere through social media and photography and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and talk about, one of my most favorite apps and most productive apps. A lot of these you guys might have used or might have heard of, but you might not know all the things they can do. And I'm going to try and give you some tips on things that we can talk about. The first one is Google Keep. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It is essentially a note-taking app. And it allows you, it's a little more than that, but the way I like to explain it and think of it is everybody knows the sticky note. Everybody probably still uses sticky notes occasionally. And Google Keep in its most simplest form is the digital sticky note. So anything that you can imagine that you would put into a sticky note, I would recommend putting that into Google Keep. You can actually color code it, as you can see on here, in various different colors, just like sticky notes are. And it's a way to take what's in your mind, the thoughts that are going on, and to save them and to be able to easily retrieve those whenever you need them, whether that's note-taking or let's go through some of the different things that you can do, whether it's a checklist or a to-do list. The one here, I have an example here for you. This is really great for new agents or for agents that are in the practice every day. You can create checklists for the seller process or checklists for the buyer transaction and every step that you need to go through, and you can just check those off. Now, the cool thing is with this, once you've created it, now it's going to take some time. And actually, what I did to create it, Matthew has in the the CBE docs section the checklist there for you. And I took that checklist, kind of changed it up a little bit to make it my own, but pasted it into Google Keep. Once you've done it one time, all you have to do is just duplicate this note and put, instead of, in this case, Tim and Gwen Thomas, you're going to put in the next client's name. So you're not having to redo the list every single time. It's there for you. So you're just duplicating that note. But it's a great way to be able to keep you on track and remembering to do all the particular tasks that you need to do. So checklists are great. And I mean, everything that I'm talking about, you can do with your personal organization too. So I imagine things that you can do with grocery lists, and you can share these lists. So if we're talking about a grocery list, you could share that with your spouse, and then both of you are able to add to it and check off things as you go along. If you're in the real estate transaction, depending on what it is, you could share it with your clients so that they could be going through if it was not your task, but the task they needed to do. If you have an assistant or you're on a team, you guys could all be using the same note and the same checklist to be able to check those off. So I think that's a great source of being able to do that. And you can see here, you can color code them. So you can make all your real estate checklists green, all of your personal ones blue, and that way you can sort by those different colors also. You can create templates. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do email templates, and before Gmail and Outlook and all those had templates, I was creating my templates in Google Keep, as you can see here. And you just name them, use the word template when you're naming it, and you're able to pull up all your templates very easy, and then you can just copy and paste them into your email. Now, one thing that I really like using this for, though, I haven't found anything that allows you to do text templates, when you're texting and making that easy. So what I do is, like, for example, you have a listing and you have, the showings, and you want to get feedback. And of course, the agents never leave feedback. So you want to follow up with them with a text message. You can have that templated in there, whatever you want to ask them. you just open up Google Keep on your phone, you copy and paste that text message template right into your phone, so you're not having to retype out the property address and all those different things. And it's very easy to get that feedback and text it instead of having to do that. So that's, using templates is great. You can also do voice notes. So again, you're on the road, you're out and about, and we have this great idea and something that we want to work on later, and we may not even have the time to type it up. All you have to do, you can see on the little app here, there's a little microphone. You just click the microphone and you just start talking, whatever it is that you want to record, and it saves it as a audible message that you can listen back. And it also changes that, so you can see here, remind me to create my video bio or whatever it is. It actually translates it for you so that you're then able to search by whatever the words that you spoke later on. So you left a note 3 weeks ago and you don't know how to find it, you're able to search by bio. You just type in the word bio and then this note would pop up for you. So I think that is, really cool. 4 different ways that you can use it. There's another way that you can actually, probably one of the things that I use most is you can actually take a photo note, I guess is the easiest way to put it. So you can see here of a recent listing that I had at Mountain View. So I labeled each of these notes with the words Mountain View so that I can then go back to search for it later. But I would take a photo. So let's say you're at the house, you're going through and you have the paper out that you're writing, you're taking notes, or let's say you're in a class and you're taking handwritten notes of that. As soon as you finish with those notes, what I recommend is actually taking a picture of that note, saving it into Google Keep, and then you have those notes labeled however you labeled them. Okay, so you could label it Mountain View home inspection notes or the phone call notes that you got off the phone with them. But this is what's really, really cool is it does 2 different things. So on these documents over here that you see that are typed out documents, it is translating that typed out text so that it is searchable. It can actually search a word inside your photograph, which is, to me, amazing. And so you wouldn't necessarily even have to label it to how I labeled it. I like to do that just in case. But even more so than that, if you guys look over here to the right, and I don't know if I have that on the next one. Yeah, actually I do. Here it is. So it'll even, the search power of it will even search handwriting. Okay, so if you look here, this one that I have, I took a picture of my sticky notes as we're talking about that I took from a quick phone call. And at the top, I use the word frequency. So if you see I search frequency, it pulled these notes up in the search results. And if you look what I wrote in here, I did not use the word frequency that I typed out. So it is, and I don't have, as you can see, very nice handwriting. So it is actually translating the handwriting into search power. I'm sorry, into something that it can search. So the search power of Google Notes is essentially everything that's going around in your brain that's all jumbled up. You won't lose it because you can always go back and say, oh, what? I can't remember what I talked about when I talked to Houston. You just type in the word Houston, as you saw on the previous slide, and everything comes up, every note that you put in there, even things that are in the text. So that is the power of Google Keep, because we all have so many things going on all the time, right? You have all these great ideas, and then the day goes on, or your kids text you, or you're talking with your spouse or whatever, and we forget about it. So it's really cool to be able to just jot down with a quick voice note, a quick photo note, or typing it out, whatever's going on. And I think it's a great way to stay organized. This is one that app that I recommended to my wife, and she uses it all the time. You can have it open now, and I'll show you later on, but in Gmail now, there's a little sidebar that you can have Google Keep open right next to your Gmail. And that's, I'm not going to talk too much about Gmail today, because that's most of you, I would imagine, are already using Gmail to be interested in the different Google apps. But, it's something, if you have more questions about that, we can talk about later. And if you guys have questions about anything, you can drop the questions in or drop in the chat, about a particular app that we're talking about. So I don't know if you guys have any questions on Google Keep or anything that Google Keep can do, because we're going to jump into the next app. So I'll give you a second here if you guys have any questions on that. Another thing, most all of these apps are available for Android, obviously, which is made by Google, but then I think all of them are on the iPhone too. So everything that we're talking about, I think each and every app has a mobile app, and you can use them on the computer too. That's what I like about Google Keep, is that I have my notes on my regular workflow on the screen, and then they're on the phone and they update simultaneously as things are going. So cool. Now this one is a fun app, but I want to show you some ways that I use it for productivity wise too. But it's probably, I know I said Google Keep's my favorite. I have a lot of favorite apps when it comes to that, but Google Photos, as far as fun and being someone who loves photography, it has changed the way that I do, photography, and the way that I organize that. And I would imagine a lot of you probably have thousands and thousands of photos that you've taken that are on your phone, or maybe you have them saved on an external hard drive somewhere, and or both, and they're in another thumb drive over here. They're all over the place. Google Photos essentially allows you to organize all of your photos that you've taken, and then be able to filter them out and do different things with them as you're going through that. One thing that I've been able to help a lot of people out with is that you can actually, as you see here, you can stop running out of storage on your phone. Everybody I know, especially iPhone users, get that message that you can't take any more photos because you're all out. So if you add Google Photos on, it actually will back up all of your photos for you for free forever with unlimited space. But the only caveat to that is that it kind of minimizes the photo to a 16 megapixel photo. And if you guys know what that means, 16 megapixels is a huge photo, and it would allow you to easily print 8x10 photos very clearly. The only negative would be if you had a photo that you were wanting to blow up billboard size, or a large print maybe in your house, it might reduce that. But if you look at the camera that you're using, like most cell phones, my Pixel 3 that I have, I think it is taking like 12 megapixel photos. So most cameras that you have are not taking larger than 16 megapixels. So it's not something that you have to really be concerned about. But it's really cool that you're able to back up those photos. Then you can delete them from your phone, and you have unlimited space. So that has been able to free up a ton of space for people that I've talked to, and I use it. I have hundreds of thousands of photos that are all saved in Google Photos. It's also, just like Google Keep, compatible on all different devices. And here you can see it's showing you that up to 16 megapixels in 1080p videos. So all that stuff adds up really quickly, so it does save you some space. But when you take a photo, the cool thing is you take a photo on your phone, it automatically backs it up, or when you get back home and on Wi-Fi, it backs it up, and then you have it on your laptop or you have it on a tablet. It's all in the cloud, as they say. So some of the cool things that it does, and kind of show you how I use it in the real estate world. Again, Google search power and all these apps that I'm showing you is one of the coolest things about it. So in all my photos, this is in a screenshot of my Google Photos. But if you go in and you just search the word real estate, and you haven't labeled the photos real estate in any way, it is going to pull out all the photos that you've taken of houses, anything that they feel deals with real estate. It's going to populate for you instantly. On a non-real estate level, if you typed in the word beach, it's going to pull up all of your photos that are of a beach. Now, I know some people are like, well, that's really creepy. How does it know my photos, or it's looking at my photos? And I mean, some people are creeped out by that. I'm not one of them. I'm okay with that. I will enjoy the convenience of Google. It's not a person going through it. It's just computer algorithms, AI intelligence that's actually making that happen. But it's the convenience of being able to, I mean, I could pull up, you could type in the words pink flower, and it's going to pull through your thousands of photos, all the photos that you took of a pink flower. So there's a lot of, so people that are think about this on a social media standpoint, and you want to pull up photos of certain things, you can use this search power. You guys have all these photos. You could type in, Pratt Park, and the photos you took at Pratt Park are going to populate in here for you automatically. So then you can just go ahead and use that post to put that in there. So from the social media standpoint, it's a great way to be able to pull from your library of photos that you're already creating, or doing website design. You wanted to have a tree, a picture with a tree, and you just type in tree, it's going to literally pull out all your photos of trees in there. So I think that's really cool, the search power that it has, and convenience there. It has some awesome editing options, and I say simple editing options because it does the basics that you need. And I don't know if any of you guys have seen the photos that I do for my listings, and I have a nice DSLR camera and a nice tripod and wide angle lens. So I mean, I have some, I would say, professional level equipment that I take my photos with. So I mean, I recommend, you know, if you don't, this is not just going out to the house with a cell phone and taking the pictures, but if you know what you're doing and you have nice equipment, you know, taking your own photos you can do. But any photos you've seen in my real estate stuff, I literally do all the editing right in Google Photos. So you can see here to the right, it actually allows you to, and lighting is really what you're changing. It's generally the only thing that I'm changing when it comes to photos, but making it brighter. So you can adjust the exposure, highlights, shadowing, the whites, the blacks. You can put shadowing around the photo. And what makes this so great to me, and there's more expensive photo editing tools out there, but this is free, and I like free. But when I get this all set up for this basement picture right here, I can copy the edits. And then when I go to another angle of the basement, I can just paste those edits in there, and the same brightness and everything then pops for the next picture. So I can go through, you know, a whole 40 to 60 photos that I took of a house and probably have it all edited within about 30 minutes, because I'm able to then get the settings the way I like, and then just copy and then paste the edits to the next photo, paste the edits to the next photo, and then it's done. And it's really cool once you have them all done that you can share the album directly to your clients, because I like to get my clients, you know, green light on that they're happy with the pictures before we go live with the listing. So you can just go right in, you share this album, you create an album called, like in this case, 13515 Perimeter Drive, real estate photos, and you share it with both your clients' email addresses. And it's kind of, it looks great to them. They're impressed that they have, you know, your album all done, and they're able to see that. And, you know, on a personal note with Google Photos, you can see here, it's an easy way to share it with your loved ones, and, you know, share to grandma and grandpa, and getting everybody to see what's going on with the kids, or sharing with your friends what happened with your trip. And then they're able to comment on those different albums. So I think that Google Photos is really fun, and definitely something you can have even if you don't want to deal with real estate stuff, but it's a great way to keep everything organized, all of your albums. And the other thing that does, actually puts them all in chronological order from, you know, if I take a photo today on May 15th, 2020, that's going to be at the top of my list. And then I can scroll all the way down, because I've actually gone in and scanned in old photos back to, like, you know, when my parents were born in 1955, all the way down the timeline. So that is really cool as far as just your own family organization and photos as far as that goes. So this one is a fun app, and it also has, you know, some great tools that you can use for real estate. And like I said, it is the only editing that I use for my real estate photos. So you can do your whole process right through here. Next one, I don't even know if well, there is an app for it, but this is great for your marketing, Google My Business. So I showed you two screenshots here of my Google My Business page. I 100%, if you're a real estate agent and you're looking to get business, you have to have a Google My Business page. You know, more than 90% of people are searching on Google. When you get referred, when your best friend refers you to somebody else, that person is then going to Google your name. They're going to try and do some research to find out about you, find out what's going on, who you are. And what you want to happen is for something to pop up when they search for you. And I did the search here that you're seeing, just J Parrish, Fredericksburg. And this big block over here to the right with a photo and my name bold, all of my reviews on here, the address where I work, my working hours, my phone number, my website, is all bold and stands out. I mean, it's gonna be obvious to them that that's exactly what they're looking for. Same thing you're seeing the mobile version over here to the left. And it is important that when they search you, something comes up. Now you can see also your Coldwell Banker sites are gonna come up. So there is gonna be something that comes up for you. But this is also helping if someone is not searching for your name, and you possibly populating in Google when they're searching for a real estate agent near them. So to get this set up, all you have to do is go to google.com/business and set up your Google My Business page. I mean, you should not, after today, if you do nothing else, you should go and get this set up and have a Google My Business page. One thing that I also do, you can see I have 14 reviews here. I always ask my clients to review me on Google and on Facebook. That's where I feel that I get most of my business from. And some of you, if you're a top producing agent, you know, Zillow might be a place for you. And I do ask for Zillow also, but I focus on getting them on Google and Facebook because I think a lot of people are referring through Facebook, and I think that's important to have those on there. But you can set this up by having them give you a review right on Google, which helps. The more reviews you have, the higher that you're going to populate on there. So highly recommend Google My Business. If you have any questions about that, getting that set up, just let me know. But you go to google.com/business and you get that set up. So I know everybody is probably sick of video apps at this point, and Google has their own slew of video apps, but I wanted to show you two things that I've used successfully, and Google Duo is the first one if you haven't heard of that. If you are an Android phone user, it's basically your built-in video setup. You know, it's kind of like the FaceTime version for Android. But the cool part about Google Duo is not everybody has an iPhone or not everybody has an Android. So sometimes we have to communicate together, and I cannot FaceTime with somebody because I don't have an iPhone. But Google Duo is an app that is downloadable on Android and iOS, so that you can use it on both sides. So it's really cool, really clean. You can make one-on-one calls. I think that's the primary use for it. But now with our current times and everything that we're going through, they've now opened it up to you can use Google Duo with up to 12 different people. And they've now opened up a web, as you can see here, a web version of it too. So you can actually kind of do like a Zoom type call through Google Duo, and I think they're opening it up to 32 people at a time. So everything is expanding now. But this is a great way for you to reach out with your clients, you know, and I know a lot of you are already doing this and it's not new, but I think this is a great app. I did do a little quick tutorial on our Facebook page of how to use it, and it's very simple. And when you're doing it Android to Android, you can just, in the middle of a call, like I could be talking to my brother and then just press video call, and it just, we don't hang up or anything, it just turns our video on both sides. And then we're now talking, you know, both people have to agree, but then we're talking through a video call. So I think that it's a great one. And one thing that's important now, you know, you've heard with Zoom and people Zoom bombing and, you know, the safety issues. Google Duo is end-to-end encryption, which means that you are protected to the highest extent when you're having one of those calls. So I think that that is something that's very important. So definitely check out Google Duo, especially for those one-on-one client talks and or going through a house, doing a virtual tour. I think that's a great use for that also. Now, Google Meet. Probably most of you use Gmail for free. Google has their own Google G Suite, which is like enterprise level, that there's a monthly subscription on that. And I have that for, like, if you guys have seen my other email address, j.parish@movetofred.com, and having the ability to have your website at the end, I have a paid account for that. So Google Meet has been the paid video functioning like a Zoom for a long time. And if you've heard recently, Google Meet is now free for everyone. And it's actually free for everyone, unlimited time limit, and up to 100 people on a video until September 30th. After September 30th, it's going to be free for everyone for an hour call. So I think that they're beating Zoom there by 20 minutes. But I've done some tests with Google Meet. My wife has used it with her business for a while now, and it's great. And I think it's a great alternative to Zoom. What they're going to be doing that's really cool, if you're on this call, you're most likely a Gmail user. They're going to be putting right in your Gmail, and it might already be in there for you guys, but it'll say start a meet or join a meet. So you could just be right in your email and start a video call with your client or your, you know, team member. And you know, it's great. What's really cool is you're able to share your screen. Most things are able to do that, but one thing I found recently is you're able to share if you're using Google Meet, the app, you're able to share your phone screen. So I thought that was great, especially for me, it was like if you're trying to help somebody out with tech issues, being able to see what they're doing on their side, or you being able to show your client how to use maybe the Coldwell Banker app or how to use a particular app, you could actually pull it up and show them what's happening on your screen. So those are just two great video options for you, and something, I recommend, even though maybe you've used Zoom, that you give Google Meet a try and see if you like how it works better. I just like that it's kind of all built in. It's built into the calendar system. So if you create an appointment with your client, it'll say right there, do you want to schedule a meet for this calendar appointment? So I think that is a great option for you. So those are 2 video options. I'm checking to see if you guys have any questions over here. I don't see any right now. So we'll keep going on. So Google Drive. Google Drive is the easiest way to think of it is whether you're on a Mac or on a PC, your file system where you save all your files and where you create things, and also in this case, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint. That's what this is Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. We're going to talk about a few of those today. It's the free versions of those, and I will tell you for the last 10 years, I have used these exclusively and not touched Microsoft Word unless I'm forced to. Someone sends me something in Microsoft Word or something like that. But they're great tools, and they're as good, if not better, than the Microsoft versions of them. So essentially, Google Drive, you can have it just like anything else. You can have it right on. That's the cool part about it, is that it goes all different places that you go as long as you sign into your Gmail account. So I can pull up all of my files right on my phone, wherever I'm at. If I'm out with clients, I could pull up anything. Whereas if you had files saved on your computer, you might not have your computer with you all the time, and you don't have those files. So you don't have that access. So it's easy access, and it's secure, safe. It's all saved in the cloud, essentially. So the layout of it, I say it's similar to My Documents, or again, going back to like your file folder system on a computer. So this is how it looks. This is how you can lay it out. And essentially they're just folders. So you have like My Drive, which is your main My Documents kind of scenario. And then you create folders underneath of that. And one thing that's really cool, and I'm not sure if I have any slides on it, is actually I do later, but everything, you can share all these documents to whoever you want to share them with. You could have a client folder, you could have a teammate folder, depending, going to the personal side, you have a spouse folder, things like that, where everything underneath that folder is shared equally with the people in that. And when they edit a document inside of there, it's edited on your side. So there's no one like, basically, when you have that Microsoft Word document, you open it up, you make some edits, you save it, then you send it. It's just saving it as it goes. So the collaborativeness of all of these different tools, I mean, like what I'm showing you right now, I'm not going to go into too much today. This is Google Slides. It's a Google presentation that looks, you guys are probably thinking it's like a PowerPoint, but that's the actual slideshow you're looking at is done through Google Slides. So it's pretty cool. And again, we talked about it a lot, but one of the best things is the search power of all these things. And so if you're in your Google Drive, one thing that frustrates me when I'm in my normal computer file system is searching for things. If I don't know what folder it's in, I'm not going to be able to find it. Even when I go to the search bar, I can't find it. So the really cool thing, Google Drive, you type in marketing, everything with the word marketing either inside the document. So if you had like a Google Docs that you use the word marketing there, that's going to populate. If it has the name marketing in here, now obviously as marketing, I do a lot of that, and a lot with our team. So there's a ton of files that come up. But you can get very, you put in someone's name, your client's name. Everything that has that client's name in there is going to pull up, instantly. And so that is, if nothing else, the benefit of just being able to find your stuff is super important. And real quickly, just to show you how you get stuff in here, you just go over here to this plus tab, and then it's going to say new file or new file folder, and you would just, if you have old files that you would just upload them, and then they're in your drive. Now, if you were doing like 5 years worth of stuff, you can do that, but it might take some time to be able to get everything in the system. So when you do that upload, it might take a little while, hours sometimes, to get the uploads in there. But then you have the file system like I do, where everything is in here and you're able to just access it easily. So one really cool thing that you can put into practice right away, as real estate agents, we have to keep our receipts for all the things that we do. Maybe you do that, maybe you don't. Maybe you have a folder packed full of all your receipts and your file cabinet is overflowing. I like to keep everything in the digital world if possible. So what I do is so now I'm kind of jumping over to the mobile app of Google Drive, and it has the ability to scan your documents. So to kind of step you through here, the 5 steps to be able to save a receipt, and it's kind of, some of them are kind of extra steps, but you open up the Google Drive app that looks just like this right here at the top, and you're gonna then see there's a plus sign, and I skipped that step for you. There's a little plus sign down here in the bottom, and then you're just gonna hit scan. I'm looking at number 1 right now. You just hit the little camera that says scan. It's gonna pull up your camera, and then we're gonna be in the number 2 slide here, where you just take a picture of your receipt. Simply put, and you can see this is kind of folded over and it's not in the greatest layout. Step 3 gives you the ability to crop it, so then you can crop the edges however you want, because sometimes it'll mess up and like crops in really tight on it, so then you just gotta expand that out. But if you get back far enough, it zooms right in on the picture. Then you have a pretty good copy here of this receipt. You can see in number 4, and then you just go in the bottom right and you hit save, and you name it whatever you want. You go in and choose. You can see I chose my real estate receipts for 2020 folder, and you save it. And then what I do literally is I crumble that receipt up and I throw it away. So I don't have any papers at all, and I have a folder that I can give to my accountant if needed, or you know, knock on wood, if the IRS was requesting all your receipts, I have all that done. And that same folder, let's say you got a digital receipt via email, you can just go and save that document right into that folder in Google Drive, and they're all in there. So I mean, I've been doing this process for like the last 8 years. So I have a folder called real estate receipts, or you know, personal receipts, and I do categorize those out, you know, for 2012 or whatever it is. So that is a really cool way to save your receipts. There's tons of scanning apps out there, but what I like about this is when I save it, it's in my same folder system. And going back to that screen right here, if I were to type in, instead of marketing, I typed in receipts, it would pull up all my receipts for me. So on the folders that they're in. So I think that's a really cool way to be able to do that. Next thing is Google Docs. So this is, again, this is like Microsoft Word, but it's free. And the thing, Microsoft Word is switching over, but I know you guys remember, like, well, now I'm working on Microsoft Word 2003, and my friend only has Microsoft 1997, and we're in the year 2016. So all these different versions, and you don't know if it's going to work for your friend. In Google Docs, it's always up to date and it's always free. And I believe the storage limit is unlimited when you're using a Google Doc. When you're saving PDFs and stuff like that, you do have a storage limit. But anything that's using with Google Docs, it does that. So it's, as you can see, the picture to the left here, you can have 3 people simultaneously editing this document all at the same time. So let's say you have someone that's working on your marketing for you or helping you with marketing. You guys both have a document pulled up. You can both be looking at it, and you can see that Lindsay, the exact words she's typing as she's typing it. I mean, it is really cool. If you've never tried it, it's pretty cool to be able to have the collaborativeness all at the same time working together. So that is really cool. I also wanted to show you that there's templates. So there's tons and tons of templates. Let's say you needed to write a letter to somebody, you can pull up, you know, 10 different letter setups, templates that are ready for you and already look great, or a meeting layout or whatever it is, there's a template for you that you can get set up with that. So that's what Google Docs is like. It's like Microsoft Word. If you opened it up, and if you go back, I'll show you right here, you hit the plus sign and it'll say new doc, new sheet, new slide. That's how you start your document. So it's very easy. And then when you go into it, you know, this screen over here to the left, it's going to look just like, pretty much just like Word for you. So I don't think that there's not even much of a learning curve. It's very similar to what you're already used to. The one thing, you can't see it on this screen, but at the top, it'll say last saved a few seconds ago. As you're typing, it's automatically saving for you. So you don't have to go back and you don't have to save at all. It's just making sure, you want to double check occasionally that it's actually saving for you. I've been using the whole Google Suite system for 10 years now, and I've never had any issues, again, knock on wood, with any of the saving or anything like that. So Google Docs is pretty cool. Google Forms. So I use this a lot also. Google Forms if you've been on a site, we do it every day, or you've purchased a product online, you filled out a form with your first name, last name. That's what Google Forms is. But it's a very simple way for you to get information from clients that you need to. Now, if you have your own personal website, you can embed these in your website. If you don't have a website, you could just send the form to people and it's going to be set up. You're going to be like, it's hosted in Google, but it'll look like your form. So you don't necessarily even have to have your own personal site to use these. And you can also embed the forms in email. So let's say you just want to get a survey completed from your clients, on how you did. You could send it to them and it would embed it in their email so they would never even have to go to a site. But the quick steps, one thing I recommend doing is creating a seller profile form. So someone reaches out to you, they want you to list their home, and you guys know there's a bunch of questions that we need to ask and we need to find out. Well, what I do after I have the initial conversation with them is, as I say, hey, just to before I come out to see your house, helps me to get to know you and your house better. Can you fill this form out for me? So I created a form here, and it's probably about, 20 questions, and it's a lot of questions. It takes some time. It asks that key question, how much they think their house is worth. So when you're going into it, you're not going into it blind. And when they think their $400,000 house is worth $600,000, you at least know what you're getting into. So I created the form here. You just would go back to that plus sign and you create new form, and you just go through and you can choose the colors and you can do whatever you'd like. First name, last name, so on down the list, depending on whatever the form is. And then you can see in the top right, it'll just say send it. So you could send that form directly to your client that way. I have my own personal site at movetofred.com, and that's where I send them because I want it to look very professional and branded when the client goes there, so they can see that it's at Coldwell Banker Elite and Jay Parrish. It is the actual site. It's embedded in there, so it looks like it's a form that looks smooth right in my site. And I've never had anybody like push back about filling the form out. It just comes across as professional, that you're a business, that you want to get information from them about selling the house. So you drop it on the website. And the cool thing is, a lot of cool things today, sorry. It creates a spreadsheet. So as you can see here, this looks like Microsoft Excel, but this is Google Sheets. So as soon as they fill out this form and hit submit, you get a new line created that has the first name, last name, and all their information in here. And you can scroll right through and see all the answers. And you can also, all your past client information is saved in there too. So it's, again, today's all about organizing and keeping all your stuff together. As you have people filling these out, the form's going to fill out for you, and you're going to have this form up here. As you can see, it's called Real Estate Website Seller Profile Form. So if we go back to Google Drive and I search seller profile form, I'm going to get these two different documents that are going to come up. There's going to be the spreadsheet, and there's also going to be the form. So both of those are there for you to be able to edit and to look at. So I know that's getting a little bit advanced, and I'm going through it very fast. But and again, as you guys are wanting to work through these things, I can definitely help you guys out with those. But I'm wanting to give you things to get your mind spinning. Take it your way with your business and whatever that you need to do. You can see that the options, the possibilities are endless with this. Another thing that I do with Google Forms is how I keep my mileage log. So again, another thing as agents that we should be doing, and I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but this has really helped my process, is I created a form for myself called mileage form. And I put in the date, which is a little drop down, pulls up a calendar for you. I say what type of mileage that I'm doing. I say the description, so whether it was going to the bank or a charity event or a final walkthrough or a home inspection. And then as you can see, the second little option over here, I put the mileage for the round trip. So I just went in and gave myself anywhere from 20 to 100. I think as you scroll down, I just click on that and then I hit submit. It then populates a page for me here, perfect for me to give to my accountant at the end of the year, which is what I do, and easy for me to total up all my mileage. But you can see as you put that in. So what I do is I save this Google Forms as just an icon on my phone. You finish the trip at the end of the day, and I'm going to show you a trick later, another way to find your mileage. And at the end of the day, you just pull this form up. When you pull up to your house, you got your mileage, and you just hit submit, and it automatically creates this line for you. So I think that this is a great way to keep mileage. Again, it's free. There are some mileage apps out there. There's probably a couple free ones, but again, for me, it was then having to export it into something else. This was all just keeping it in my ecosphere of Google and everything all together. So the Google form mileage is really awesome. So cool. Let me check any questions we got here. Okay. All right. I want to talk a little bit about Google Assistant. So Google Assistant is the Alexa competitor. If you can use Google Assistant on any type of Android device. It's already built in. All the Google Homes that you guys have seen advertised, you can use Google Assistant there. And I've started to use it as it's literally like an assistant to help me, going back to the beginning when we talked about Google Keep, to help me remember things that I'm going to forget to do. I use it. I have a lot of stuff for smart home stuff that we're not going to talk about today, like turning the lights on at the house and locking your doors. It does all that kind of stuff, but that's just kind of fun stuff that doesn't help you practically. But I want to talk to you guys some things that you could do, practical uses for it. You can also use it on an iPhone. I had to look this up for you guys because I again don't have an iPhone. But if you download this app called Shortcuts on iOS, you would just create a shortcut for basically the keyword "Hey Google." I don't know if it's gonna. I try to turn it off in my house, or my phone just beeped. But you would create a shortcut for that, and it would actually activate it on your iPhone. So I have not trialed that or used that, but I thought that was really cool. You 100% can download the Google Assistant app on iPhone. So you can definitely turn the volume off here on my phone. You can definitely use it on both. So I thought that was pretty cool. But essentially, Google Assistant is ready to help anytime, anywhere, anything that you need. It's something as simple as what's the weather like today or what's the weather like this weekend. It gives you a quick answer very easily. And a lot of the things, if you are an Alexa user, Google is, I think, better at the fact that it's more accurate with the answers. Like if you're asking about anything, like how tall is Michael Jordan or stuff like that, it knows, it has the entire search power of Google with an answer instantly for you. So you could, say, hey, let's navigate to work, and it's going to, boom, take you right to your work address. Or navigate me to 123 Main Street, boom, it pulls up Google Maps and you're on your way there. So another cool thing that you can do, and I use this a lot, so you're driving, we want to be safe, right? We don't want to be texting while we're driving, but you have to get this message out quickly. While you're driving, your phone's there. You can just say, hey, Google, text mom, I'll be there in 10 minutes, or hey Google, text my clients, I'm running a few minutes behind. And you would need to say the client's name, and it's going to do that whole text process for you while you're going on the way. So that is something that is a thing that I use a lot, that you're not having to text while you're doing, but it's on the go and there for you. Some other things you can do, and probably the best thing for us as agents or as business owners that you can do is reminders. So since I have Google Homes all over my house, I'm able to use that. But if you're on the go or you're just anywhere, you can say, hey Google, remind me to call Mary Jane back about the house at 6:30 p.m. And at 6:30 p.m. you're going to get a reminder on your phone that says call Mary Jane. That to me has, like, if I don't put a reminder in or I don't put it on my calendar, it just doesn't happen for me. So it's, again, getting the thought out of your head quickly as you can, and then something reminding you later. And I didn't mention that about Google Keep. All those notes that you create, you can put a reminder on them. So you can say, remind me in 2 weeks to do XYZ. So reminders, I don't know if that's something that you guys use. You might use the sticky note reminder, but then when your dog eats your sticky note, then the reminder goes away. So this is a way of keeping it all very digital. You can see some options of things you can do. At my house, we use timers in the kitchen all the time. We use timers for our kids, all different things. You can do reminders every morning. This is give you a reminder when you wake up to drink water. You can do stuff like that. We use it for shopping lists. We say, hey Google, add eggs to our shopping list, and that goes back to Google Keep, and my wife gets it, my daughter's on that list now, and everybody knows what's on the shopping list, or if there's something that they want to add. Set an alarm, remind me to do this at this time. You can use it as call dad, and it's going to ask you who that is, and I'm making sure that it's not going to call my dad here. But you can see the benefit of this, and it to some of you might seem weird to be like talking to a computer, but in our house, it's become almost natural, and it helps. I know that might be weird too, but it really helps us make sure that we get tasks done, which I think is important. I mean, we all juggle, you guys all juggle a lot of different things, and this is a way to make sure that you at least get reminded of it. And when you get reminded, you're going to have to be the one that ignores that reminder if you don't want to do it. So I think that's some cool things that you can do there. All right, lots of stuff. Google Maps. You guys are all familiar with Google Maps, I would imagine. Even Apple users, I think most people use Google Maps because it's more accurate than that. You might have noticed that they changed their logos. The one on the right is now the new Google Maps logo. So just in case you were trying to find it and it didn't look like it used to, because it's a pretty dramatic change, I think, in the way that it looked before. But a couple practical uses that you might not know about Google Maps that can help you in your day-to-day. You can add multiple stops to Google. So if you open up Google Maps and it has your location, and let's say that I'm going to work, which I haven't. That's another little simple thing that I like, that you can program in work, you can program in home, you can program in favorite things for you, the gym. You know, you just say, hey, Google, navigate to the gym, and you're on your way. But you have your first stop in there, and the way that I'm saying that you can use this, let's say you're showing 5 different homes. At the beginning of the trip, you know, you don't want to get in there and type in what the next house is each time. You can set them up just like the workflow that I'm going to show you right here. So you got your location, you click these little 3 dots in the top right, and it might be, some of these things on the mobile might be different on iOS. So whatever your settings option is, you click add a stop, and then you would just add in your stop. So I just put in some examples here for you: Lake of the Woods, Fawn Lake, then I'm going to head back to the office. So when you get to work, it's going to, have your navigation up there. It's going to say to you, do you want to go to your next stop? And if you're showing the home, it's going to wait until you open Maps again, and then you click next stop, you get in the car, and you're headed to that next stop. It, for me, has made the workflow of taking buyers around so much easier, instead of having to scramble around for 5 minutes trying to figure out where the next one is. And kind of, this just helps you look organized. I think you can probably, I don't know right off, you might be able to even share this layout with your clients. That'd be something that's pretty cool. I'd have to look into that. But then you just start and you go through the steps. So that's a really cool way to do multiple stops and multiple setups. Another thing, now this one, I know some people are saying right now, wow, that's really creepy. Google keeps a timeline view of everywhere that you go if you allow it. You can turn your location off, but for me, when I'm going back and I've been slacking about keeping my mileage, I can go back and say, oh yeah, this is when I pulled up here, I had a closing on this date. You know, how many miles did I drive on that day that were work related? So I'm going back to May 4th, and then you look here in the top left, it might be you guys can see it pretty clearly, 35 miles that day. So from my house back to the title company, back to the home inspection, you can see, and you can look right on the map that did that. Yes, I understand that that is maybe a little much. I'm okay with it. I think it's really cool. I mean, it keeps the timeline for that. If you don't like it, you need to go in and turn your location off in your phone to make sure. But it's a great way to be able to, you know, go back and see, specifically for your mileage tracking, what mileage you did. So if you missed 3 weeks of doing that spreadsheet that I showed you guys earlier, you're able to go in and update that very quickly. You know, May 4th, 31 miles. And actually keeps track of your walking miles too. So that day I took a 2.3 mile walk. So I think that's a great way to be able to see that. So I've rolled through these very quickly. If you guys have any questions about any of these were the main apps that I wanted to show you guys. I want to give you some tips of things that you can do. There are tons of things that you can do in addition to that. Gmail and calendar, I didn't talk about at all. So I use those all the time. I just was kind of taking the assumption for this particular class that you guys were familiar with those. I love how everything works together. Those reminders that I've been telling you guys about, and if you do a reminder in Google Keep, you can have those populate right into Google Calendar for you. So that is a really cool way to be able to have a visual. If you're a Google Calendar user, when you put that reminder with a time in there, it actually pops up. There's a little calendar you have to choose on the left called reminders. And you're able to see when that reminder is actually coming up, and you're able to check it off right in your calendar too. So I think that's really cool. And then a bonus app for you, if you guys didn't already get enough, but Google Tasks. So I was thinking about whether I should even share this one, but Google Tasks is probably the simplest of all the apps, and it is exactly what it is. And I showed you guys a picture here of it. It's in your email, and over to the right-hand side, you'll see these little icons now. There's a little calendar icon, a little Google Keep icon, and then below that is this icon, which is Google Tasks. And it is nothing more than a to-do list. Okay, so you can create to-do lists in Google Keep, but I actually keep my main, and this is not my to-do list, it's just kind of a sample for you guys, but my main to-do list right here, where I'm functioning in Gmail every day, and I can look over to the right and see all of my tasks directly in there, just easy to check them off. You can also put calendar and times on there, and then they go to, like due dates and times when they're due. And those also will go to your calendar if you want them to do that. So it is a just simple way to add to-dos in there. They're right there for you. But I think that's a great way. I've been reading the Time Management Ninja with the downtown office and the book club there, and I love it. And it's a lot of these things I've been talking about are a part of that. But one thing it was is keeping your to-do list, all of your to-do list, personal, business, in one giant to-do list, so that you're able to see what to go through, and you kind of rank those in order and time order of when you want to get those completed. So having a to-do list on paper is great if that works for you. If you're somebody who's going to take that paper with you all the time, I am not going to be that person. If that's not obvious, but Google Tasks, there's an app for that, and you can pull it up and you have all your tasks right there on your phone. I mean, we're on the go all the time, so having it in different places, syncing simultaneously, I think is extremely important. So that's all I have for you guys. I thank you guys so much for your time. I love talking with you guys about Google. It's something that I'm passionate about, and I think if you use some of these tasks that we've talked about today, can actually save you. And I always talk about this. If you save 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there, 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, you're saving time every single day, that you can use to do stuff that's more fun than dealing with tasks and dealing with your productive stuff. So if you guys ever have any questions about today's topics, please reach out. If you're diving into these apps and they're not as easy as I'm making them out to be, and you have questions about them, don't hesitate to reach out. But I hope at least one or two of these things you guys are able to take today and put into practice and start using. But I appreciate your all's time. I'll take a look over here and see if you guys have any questions at all. But otherwise, you guys stay safe, and I'll talk with you all soon.